I think for the first question, I will start with candidate number 7 and work back this way, okay? Again, the first question, Ms. Nixon, the City Council recently agreed to a contract with the Kent County Sheriff Department for law enforcement services with a projected savings of $119,000 for the year 2015. What do you think should be done with that savings?
Well, I think that, first of all, the city needs to cover the approximately $40,000 that they've used from the contingency fund every year since it was raised to 20% in 2009. I'd also like to see the city take a more active role in the preservation of Skinner Field. I appreciate that the Friends of Skinner Field have stepped up and tried to preserve this for the community, but I would also like to see the city take a more active role in that preservation. I believe the city could use some of this money to come to a lasting agreement with the Red Flannel Festival over the use of the logos and start to heal what's been a very deep divide in our community. The money could also be used to plant flowers on Main Street, and some of it could be diverted to the DDA for the beautification of Main Street and making Cedar Springs look the best that it can.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Bremer, same question. The City Council of Cedar Springs recently agreed to a contract with the Kent County Sheriff's Department.
Here.
Pardon?
Yeah, she's not here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the okay.
I mean, we can allot 3 minutes to silence.
Yeah, okay. Pam, if you could take the question then.
Sure.
The City Council agreed with the Kent County Sheriff's Department for law enforcement services with a projected savings of $119,000 for 2015. What do you think should be done with that savings?
Well, as Ms. Nixon said, we do have some issues with shoring up the fund balance and how that works in that we keep borrowing out of it. And probably part of that is we need to make a more realistic budget of what that looks like and make that come out so that we don't have to keep doing that in addition to taking money from that. So there's some recategorization that needs to be done on the back end to fix that. But then in addition, we really need to fix our infrastructure. Our roads are just falling apart. And we need to fix that. Businesses are not going to want to come here. Citizens are not going to want to live here if our roads are falling apart. So that needs to be one of our big primary issues. Beyond that, I know that each of the department chairs has a list of, from my time at City Council, I know this, has a list of critical projects that need to be done. They need to be pulled out and examined and start with the most emergent ones and start knocking those off to take care of those first. From there, move on to things like fixing our water system, maintaining our parks, planting flowers, beautification.
Thank you. Barry, would you like me to reread it or
no.
Twice? Good enough.
I've read the question twice and heard it twice.
All right, thank you.
I agree with the fact about just because it's saying 119 don't mean we should go spend that 119,000 right off the bat. You've still got to cover the things you've been short on. But our downtown area, sidewalks and some of the roadways do need to be done. I know that there's new things coming out there with solar roadways and solar sidewalks that help produce energy for the community as well as it helps with snow removal and ice removal. So if we could look at moving into some of the futuristic things for our downtown, that would put us on the leading path for trying to compare to other towns that are doing that. That's some of the ideas I think.
Thank you. Mark, same question.
Good evening, everyone. In regards to question number 1 being asked is the potential for the realized savings regarding the contract between the City of Cedar Springs and the Kent County Sheriff's Department. It's important to understand one thing. The city is faced with a lot of things that are unfunded at this time. We have unfunded pension liabilities that must be secured. The federal government states that. We have infrastructure concerns within our city that are vital. We have roadways that need repair. We have sewers that need repair. We have waterways that need repair. It is imperative that this council or the future councils recognize those important assets that are truly beneficial to the community to draw future businesses in, that they can be realized and utilized in a means and a productive environment where we have a positive draw, where we can take care of what we have due and then realistically look forward in the future. If there's a surplus in balance, I believe that balance should be held in reserve in the event that after the 5-year contractual period that this deal may not work out after 5 years, that we have a fund balance in reserve that can be utilized to reinstate a police department if that is the need or if that is the will of the council at that time.
Thank you. Patricia?
Well, I'm going to repeat everybody. We have a $317,000 deficit in our pension program, and so that needs to be taken care of. And then our Department of Public Works building, it looks nice from the outside, but there's a lot of things in there that need to be fixed. And the roof leaks, there's different machinery that, and I'm not even going to try to say them all, but that is very expensive to replace. And also the sidewalks and the roads. And our basic budget is what they said is we are 41,000 or 40. We'll get an audit this week, but with regards to that's been appropriated for the budget that's out of our general fund. So first one is the pension.
Thank you. Okay. Rose?
I too have been concerned about the pension, but one of the things that really bothers me is when our city decided we could no longer subsidize our museum. Very important history, not only for our schools, but our community and our surrounding community. The museum used to get a $300 a month subsidy. I'd like to see that restored. I'd like to see a crossing guard or some kind of attention paid to the kids crossing this very busy and dangerous intersection back and forth to school. Above and beyond that, I know there's jillion ways to spend this money. I'd like to see just a little bit more of a friendly pedestrian traffic downtown. Sometimes you're just taking your life in your hands getting across the street. Maybe a little more police presence down there during the rush hours. Maybe Kent County's going to take care of that. I'm not sure at this point, but the museum and the crossing guard are way heavily on it. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes response to question number one. Again, a reminder, if you have a question that you would like to ask, paper and pens over here, please, on the top of it, put, which candidate. We don't have time for, if you have a question for all the candidates to respond tonight. But if you have a question for a particular candidate, put their name on the top of it. And again, you can put those on the ladies' table over here. For the second round of questions, I'm going to start with Mark and come this way, and including Rose's comments, then I'll go back to Perry and work that way out, okay? Question number two. Recently, the Red Flannel Festival and the Chamber of Commerce have been at odds over logo usage. Council members have been viewed as either for the Red Flannel Festival or for the Chamber. Do you have a personal agenda for either organization? How will you work with members of council who have differing views? Again, first question, Mark.
Thank you. No, I do not have support in either direction. I base all my decisions based off of fact. Perception can be dangerous. Opinions can be dangerous because it may present the prevailing tide of the time. A decision has to be based off of fact. And in both situations, these are opposing views. And if they have opposing views, I believe civilly they can discuss these matters and come to a resolution that is positive for our community. I do not support one way or the other, as indicated here by the question. If I have an agenda item for each of these organizations, I do not. I believe that it's important that if I am reelected to the council, that we look at it as though we are adults, and we can sit down and have thorough discussion and dialogue and talk about our differences, because that's important. That's what a council is there for, is to discuss concerns that are brought forward.
Thank you. Patricia.
I can easily disagree or agree with anybody's council member, so if one happens to be, they may be pro-red plan or pro-chamber, I'm for both. Anybody that wants to bring events and do things to